Hello, and welcome to the Fox Performing Arts Charitable Foundation's educational program. In show business, there are many great truths, and here are three of them. Many theater traditions are passed down from generation to generation. Theatrical friendship bonds can last a lifetime. And when it comes to creative ideas, always steal from the best and make it your own. We're going to explore these three truths today, so let's get started.
And now, let's give it up for the Tellerettes!
Who are the fabulous Fox Tellerettes? And how did they get here? And what's their connection to these guys? To answer these questions, we'll have to go all the way back to the late 1800s and to Manchester, England. Meet John Tiller. John Tiller and his wife started a school for girls where dance, among other things, was taught. John enjoyed the world of entertainment, but always thought there was room for improvement when it came to the dance sequences. While abroad on holiday, he attended a performance of the Royal Lipizzaner Stallions and was amazed not only by the beauty of these animals, with their giant plumed headdresses, but by their absolute precision. He returned home and immediately began creating a dance routine with several of his girls. It was known as the Pony Trot and became extremely popular. So much so that Florence Ziegfeld sent for the Tiller girls to be featured in his Follies on Broadway. We've now fast-forwarded to the 1920s, and we're in New York City, the Great White Way. If you know the song Tea for Two, it's from the show No No Nanette. There was a chorus dancer in the original production named Russell Markert, whose ambition was to one day become a famous choreographer. On a night off, he was able to wrangle a ticket to the Ziegfeld Follies. When he saw the Tiller girls, he thought to himself, "If I ever get a chance to get a group of American girls who would be taller and have longer legs and could do really complicated tap routines and eye-high kicks, they'd really knock the audience's socks off." This is where steal from the best comes into play. No No Nanette closed, and Russell began the mission to create his version of the Tiller girls. He wanted to get far away from Broadway for his experiment, and he landed, of all places, right here in St. Louis. By now, the motion picture was finding its way in the world of entertainment, and theaters were being built to accommodate both live entertainment and film. Russell Markert convinced the Missouri Theater to let him create a line of precision dancing girls. They would be called the Missouri Rockets and were a sensation. Eventually, the Missouri Rockets got back to New York and became the Radio City Rockettes. At this time, the fabulous Fox was being built here in St. Louis, with its identical twin being built in Detroit. The Detroit opening was first, and on the bill was a line of precision dancers called the Tellerettes. 3 months later, when the St. Louis Fox opened, the name was changed to Tellerettes. It's not clear why the vowel was changed from I to E, but one could speculate. Over the next several decades, this theatrical phenomenon was passed on, and there were lines of girls doing precision choreography all over the country. Let's meet one of them now. Here's Gerri Stretz.
My mother did not drive, so on the way to her beauty shop, I always went with her. And at one of the bus stops was Margie Doyle's dance school. And her little specialty was tap dancing, and came to be that her father owned a tugboat, and my father was a deep sea diver. And so they knew each other. And so Marjorie started teaching me. It was really interesting because she just taught by rhythm and ba-dee-da-da-da-dee-da-da. You didn't know the names of anything. You just know to stay in music with that rhythm and go for it. So that's how I learned to tap dance. And from there, I found out that I had a desire to learn ballet and things. So that's when I met Stanley Herbert. I started teaching in the basement of my home when I was only 13, 14 years old. Then Vera Havistel, she called it Havy's Dance School up on Juanita, or Junietta, called me, and I was only a freshman in high school. And she said, I need a teacher to run my studio. I said, are you kidding me? I'm 14 years old. She said, we can work something out. Well, at the same time, I was taking specialty lessons from Helen Ray. I learned how to do precision dancing, which was wonderful. I learned how to do castanets. I learned how to tap dance on roller skates, you name it. And that lady knew how to do it. Most of all, she was a Missouri Rocket. And she was very strict in what way the arms had to go, and the arms had to go under and then over, and you could not have one left arm over and one right arm under. They have to be precise. Like, for instance, a bevel. When you bevel, the knuckle on your ankle had to go right to your instep. And if that was not done correctly, you couldn't do a correct bevel. You had to learn how to turn your knee in so that it did not show the inner thigh at all, to make your leg look good and precision. Your arms had to work shoulders down, and then your arm exceeded up from your shoulder, straight line with your ear. So everything kind of went, otherwise it couldn't be precision. You had to learn how to do your hand. Your hand had to be a certain way. And I still, to this day, so that kids tuck their thumbs under, I put rubber bands on their hands. And they go, what? You'll think of me, you'll think of hiding your thumb every time. And it works, but that's what they did. So that your thumb went in, it went straight up. Your head could not ever round about. It had to straight over. Otherwise, up, down, down, down. And it had to be very accurate and on the count. And I learned all about the precision, because anytime that I went to New York was like fascinating to me, because I never got to work there, but my students did. So when I would go up there, I would see the Rockettes. So my connection to Helen was fantastic, because I got a one-on-one instruction on how do you choreograph a precision dance routine with anywhere from 16 to 36 girls in it. She said, I'm going to retire. Okay. She said, why don't you buy my studio? Well, my mother and father were a little older and I had some responsibilities. And so I went with the dancing school. Then that very August, I get a phone call from George Edick, and he wants me to run the Roaring Twenties Club on Gaslight Square, which did 3 shows a night. So that's where the chorus line and everything started.
Time went on, and the fabulous Fox was in decline and on the brink of being torn down, when Leon and Mary Strauss saved the day.
The Fox Theater originally opened in January of 1929 and quickly became an integral part of the theatrical landscape of Grand Avenue. It was an ongoing source of magical memories for hundreds of thousands of people. But with the popularity of TV and people moving to the suburbs, the Fox closed in 1978. In January of 1981, when Leah and I had the opportunity to see the shuttered Fox, I knew right away that we had to save the theater. It took Leon a few more months of prodding, but as someone who loved St. Louis, he embraced the idea that saving the Fox from the wrecking ball and taking on this huge project was exactly what needed to happen. Our goal was to bring the Fox back to its original splendor. I was the director of restoration, and we restored, not renovated, the Fox. We knew we wanted to bring big-name acts to St. Louis, who at that time skipped our city for lack of appropriate venue. The Fox reopened 1 year later on September 7, 1982, with Barnum. One of my favorite memories is overhearing a man who stepped inside the lobby and said, big deal, it looks like it always did. And I knew my restoration efforts had been a success. After studying the history of the Fox, One of the first things I saw was that a group called the Fox Tellerettes performed on opening night. That inspired me to form a new chorus line. Enter Gerri Stretz, who everyone said would be perfect to organize and form a precision chorus line.
This is where theatrical friendship bonds comes into play.
Okay, so Mary Strauss calls me and she says, I am renovating the Fox Theater.
Restored, not renovated.
And so I need a chorus line of dance girls. And everybody in town says, you're the person.
They were right. Gerri and I met and hit it off immediately. Gerri held auditions for the Tellerettes on the Fox stage, and in 1983, the Tellerettes appeared with Bob Hope at the Fox, and the rest is history.
So Mary and I met for lunch. We just met, and it was warm and woolly, and she was darling and so natural. And she says to me, this is what I want to do with the Fox Theater. What can you do for me? I said, well, Mary, if you want it, honey, I can do it for you. And that is the slogan that we all, both of us, kept for years. If Mary can dream it, I can make it happen for you. And it was wonderful, wonderful. Then she calls me one day and she says, okay, I'm going to open the Fox. It's really coming. I go, okay, what do you want? What do you need, babe? And she says, I need you to reenact an opening of the Fox. I'm like, good, good. Send me the music. So the music was the Italian street scene. Oh, it was so old and so squeaky, but we made it happen and we had a ball. And when the street scene opened, there we were. And they were all looking Italian, whether they wanted to be or not. So that was that time. Now, we did that several years later, but that's another story. And then after that, I guess I passed the test. And so what she did, she said, all right, opening night, let's put a chorus line in here. So we had auditions, and it was wonderful. We got the best dancers in the city. And they were phenomenal. Every kick, eye high. I mean, just as straight. And I picked them all the same size, the same weight, everything just like the Rockettes do. The only difference is our Tellerettes, this is funny, our Tellerettes range from 5 foot to 5'8". Now, you want to know how we camouflage that? All of the headpieces had different size feathers. So on the tall girls, I put the short feathers. And on the short girls, I put the tall feathers. And it became just an illusion. So Mary says to me, I would love a chorus line named after me. I said, okay, Mary, what do you want to name it? She says, I want to call it the Marionettes. You got it, baby. Well, I had a daughter 13 years old. She was a little Cardinal cheerleader and so on down the line and in the Muni and everything. And I thought, well, let's get all of her good performing friends that she works with and let's get a marionette line. And my daughter was in that line, which made it wonderful. And so I would teach them the same routines that the older Tellerettes did. And at one point, the rumor was that the marionettes were better than the Tellerettes. Oh, that was a problem. But it was wonderful. Everybody could see their foot, see their toe. And that was the magic of being a high-kicking Rockette or marionette or Tellerette.
Taught by her mother, Yvonne has taken her place as the next one to pass down this incredible theatrical tradition. Let's get her perspective on all of this.
Growing up with Gerri as my mom was always very, very exciting. She was not like all the rest of the neighborhood moms, I can tell you that. Being born into dance, it was always a big part of my life. She and I were very close always, working together, first as my teacher and then as my choreographer, and then it actually as the girl dancing next to me, which was interesting, fun, and scary all at the same time. Watching her from the wings when she was choreographing for the Tellerettes on the Fox stage was probably one of the best moments I think I can remember as a child. The Fox is just so magical and romantic and wonderful, and you fall in love with being in the building in the first place, and then you look out on stage and there's your mom. So that was it was pretty spectacular. I was really thrilled when they incorporated a younger line, the Mariettes. So I, at the age of 13, got the opportunity to dance on the Fox stage myself. That was incredibly rewarding. She gave us all the same material as the Tellerettes. It was quite the challenge. I had a lot of girlfriends that I danced with here and there, and knew growing up at the Muni and in the St. Louis Ballet Company and all of that. And we all got to dance together, performing on the stage with big stars, out in the lobby, doing all sorts of work throughout the St. Louis area. Really a wonderful way to grow up as a dancer. So do you remember, Mom,
Yes.
when we did the very first teen talent show at the
Yes,
Fox?
I do. Oh my gosh. Mary said to me, let's have something exciting at the Fox. I said, okay. And she says, what do you think about a talent show? I thought, oh my God, you have to find talent then to have a talent show, right? And it's got to be right here in St. Louis. Okay, well, we did Fame. Do you
Yes, we
remember
did.
that?
Yep.
Fame. And we had wigs, okay, that came out like a sparkler. They all look like
They
a
were
head with a
foil. They were foil
and different
multicolored
colors.
wigs.
Right. And
Thank you
had,
to the 80s.
yes,
That was
and you
great.
had fringe coming off of, oh my
It
gosh.
was wonderful.
It was
And
so
should
much.
never be seen again. But then it was brilliant. It was.
It was. I mean, at given times in history, everything is good.
Absolutely. And we got to shoot a commercial on the Fox stage.
Yes, we did.
All of those things as a child was pretty
I mean,
wonderful to be a
come
part
on, you know,
of.
You were
I mean,
a little kid.
I
You were
know.
up there on the Fox
I know.
stage. It was pretty fun. But everybody, all of the kids that danced in it, and everything we did, and the talent shows, we brought in singers and actors and musicians. Some of it was wonderful to see St. Louis children,
yes,
teenagers,
the teen talent in St.
show
Louis was really
their abilities. You know, it was great. But we got to open and close.
Yeah, the
Mariettes
Mariettes
got to open and
good.
close.
It was our big moment in the spotlight. It really felt.
Well, of course, you guys were big shots.
And we were the headliners. I felt pretty special. I'm not gonna lie.
It was fun. Over.
The Mariettes kept performing. The Tellerettes were kind of phasing out
right,
a little bit.
because the Tellerettes were getting older. So I started molding
The Mariettes.
Mariettes into the Tellerettes, but we knocked the Marriott name, and because Tellerettes was more
Prestigious.
Yeah.
We graduated.
Yeah.
It was sort of like going from high school to college. The last performance of the Tellerettes, we did a number called Curtain Up. And we wore red with black and silver. It was gorgeous. That is the last big performance that I recall doing at the Fox. And then it just kind of phased out after that. I don't really know if the Monday night at the movies wasn't going on anymore. It just changed.
Well,
the big headliners were older, so the people that
and
we
they
normally
were
would open
bringing
for
in now packaged shows.
Right.
So, and they ran for 7, 8, sometimes 2 weeks. So they didn't have headliners anymore where they needed an opening number. And that's what the Tellerettes were.
So I think it was 1984, 5,
Probably,
6, something like that, was when the teen talent show at the Fox happened for the very first time. And we did 2 years in a row of that, and it was wonderful, great talent. The Mariettes got to perform. We opened and closed the show. It was really special, but that didn't continue on. And then about 10 years ago, Mary approached Gerri and myself, and we got Tony Parisi to be a part of it. And 10 years ago, when we came back with the teen talent show, we brought the Tellerettes back.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
they were
They opened and closed, and yeah.
Yeah, and it was fun because it allowed me to be a part of it.
All right, and it was the two of us working together.
Right, working
Which-
together with
and
our students.
We
not just your
never,
students,
we
ours.
never disagree.
We disagree all the time, even though I'm right.
I know.
It was really exciting.
I got to
because-
be her assistant.
So, but the Tellerettes got to have a comeback. But we carried on the tradition of the chorus line. We've had a student become a Radio City Music Hall.
Yes,
Rockette,
Kayla Hall.
Kayla Hall.
Radio City Music Hall.
And so we brought back the original kick line, and Mary loved it. And
Right.
then after that, it just kind of progressed forward and got more contemporary. And now the Tellerettes do everything. They don't just do the kick line, they do jazz, they do hip hop, they do all sorts of really exciting stuff. And I think that the teen talent show that we have today is so much more than I could have ever aspired for it to be. It's wonderful. It brings out the best in all teens, the teens that are the Tellerettes and the contestants.
Well, I hope we've answered the questions. Who are the Tellerettes and how did they get here? The world of show business continues to be a special and magical place, and we thank you for your interest and curiosity.